thank you all for joining us tonight. Everyone has put in a lot of time and effort into this play. But there are a few things we need to go over before we start. First and foremost, the bathrooms are through this hallway to the left. Don't be alarmed if you run into any actors on the way, so you know. There will be 2 intermissions. Dinner theater guests, you have a plate in front of you now with salad. During the first intermission, the servers will come in and bring your main dish to your seat, so you don't have to worry about those things. During the second intermission, your plates will be taken away. For our non-dining guests, don't worry, we didn't forget about you. There will be concessions in the back during the second intermission for everyone. Finally, and most importantly, engage with the actors. If there is something funny to you, laugh. If there's something sad, cry. I mean, if you need to, go ahead. And after a scene or any other extraordinary point, clap. I mean, whatever you need to do. The feedback you give encourages the actors. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy as the Lightside Acting Troupe proudly presents Jane Eyre.
Autobiography. My childhood years were not happy ones. I grew up in my Aunt Reed's house at Gateshead. Though she was my aunt, she had no love for me.
If you could but become more carefree and childlike, Mrs. Wood had you by her too, along with John, Eliza, and Georgiana. She doesn't like your sober countenance and pious manner. She will exclude you from the privileges intended only for contented, happy children.
Who? Where the dickens is she? Lizzie, Georgie. Jane is not here. Tell Mama she's run out into the rain. Bad animal.
She's in the rain, Lizzie. To be sure, John.
What do you want?
Say, what do you want, Master Reed? I want you to come here. That is for the look you had in your eyes 2 minutes hence, you rat. Now, what were you doing behind the curtain?
I was reading.
Show the book. You have no business to rummage our bookshelves. You are a dependent, Mama says. Now, I'll teach you to touch my books. Go, stand by the door, out of the way of the mirror and windows.
Ah! You wicked and cruel boy! You are like a murderer! You are like a slave driver! You are like the Roman emperors!
What? What? Did she say that to me? Lizzie, Georgie, did you hear her? Won't I tell Mama? But first, whack! Whack!
For shame! What shocking conduct, Miss Eyre, to strike a young gentleman, your benefactor's son. Did anybody ever see such a picture of passion?
Take her away to the writer and lock her in there.
I resisted all the way. A new thing for me. The fact is, I was a trifle beside myself.
Hold her arms, Miss Abbott. She's like a mad cat. Dear, what a fury to strike a young gentleman, your benefactor's son, your young master. Master? How is he my master? Am I a servant? No, you are less than a servant, for you do nothing
something for your king. Now sit there and think over your wickedness. If you won't sit still, you will be tied down. Miss Abbott, lend me your garters. Should break mine directly.
No, don't take them off. I'll not, sir.
Mind you don't. She never did so before, but it was always in her. She's an underhanded little thing. You ought to be aware, miss, that you are under obligations to Mrs. Reed. She keeps you. If she were to turn you off, you would have to go to the poorhouse. Come, Bessie, we will leave her. Say your prayers in Eyre while you are alone. For if you don't repent, something evil might be permitted to come down the chimney and fetch you away.
This room is hardly ever visited. It is where Miss Stewart died 9 years ago. Have they locked the door? Alas, yes. No Joe was ever more secure. Why am I always suffering, forever condemned? Eliza, who is pitch strong and selfish, is respected. And Georgiana, who has a spoiled temper, is universally acknowledged. My head still aches from the blow and the fall I have received. No one reproved John for wantonly striking me, and because I turned against him to avert further violence, I am loaded with blame. Unjust! Mrs. Reed promised Mr. Reed in his last moment that she would care for me as one of her own children. There are tales of men who are troubled by the violations of their last wishes and come to revisit the earth. Miss Eyre, are you ill? What a dreadful noise! It went quite through me. Take me up. Let me go to the nursery.
What for? Are you hurt? Have you seen something?
Oh, I saw a light and I thought a ghost would come.
She has screamed out on purpose. She only wanted to bring us here. I know her naughty tricks.
What is all this? Abbott, Bessie? I believe I gave orders that Jane Eyre was to be left alone until I came to her, myself.
Miss Eyre screams so loud, ma'am.
Let her go. Loose Bessie's child. You cannot succeed at getting out by these means, be assured. I abhor artifice, particularly in children. You will now stay here an hour longer, and it is only under condition of perfect submission and stillness that I shall liberate you then.
Oh, Aunt, have pity. Forgive me. I cannot endure it. Let me be punished some other way. I shall be killed.
Silence! This violence is almost repulsive.
3 months passed. I was left in the nursery for nearly the entire space of time. Then, one day, my Aunt Reed summoned me to the parlor, as someone wanted to see me.
This is the little girl respecting whom I implied to you.
Mrs. Ball, what is your age?
10 years.
So what? Your name, little girl.
Jane Eyre, sir.
Come here. No such key as that of a naughty man, especially a naughty little girl. You know where the wicked go after death?
They go to hell.
And what is hell? Can you tell me that?
A pit full of fire.
And would you like to fall into that pit and be buried there forever?
No, sir.
And what must you do to avoid it?
I must keep in good health and not die.
Mr. Brockhurst, I believe I intimated in the letter which I gave you 3 weeks ago that this little girl is not quite the character or disposition I could wish. Should you admit her into Lowood, I should be glad if the superintendent and teachers were kept a strict eye on her, and above all, took guard against her worst failure, a tendency to deceit.
He is indeed a sad fault account. She shall be walked. I will speak to this council and the teachers.
This is a state of things I quite approve. Had I sought England over, I could have scarcely have found a system more fitting for a child like Jane Eyre. I must then depend upon this child being received as a pupil at Lowood, and there being trained in conformity to her position and prospects.
You may.
I will then send her as soon as possible, for I assure you, I feel anxious to be relieved of the responsibility that was becoming two works.
No doubt. Now, I bid you good morning. I will send Miss Dumpnose that she is to expect a new girl. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Rocklers, and remember me to Mrs. and Miss Rocklers, and Augusta, and Theodore, and Master Rocklers.
I will to them.
Return to the nursery.
I am not deceitful. If I were, I should say I loved you. But I declare I do not love you. I dislike you the worst of anyone in the world except John Green.
How dare you affirm that, Jane?
How dare I, Mrs. Reed? How dare I? Because it's the truth. You think I have no feelings, and that I can do without one bit of love and kindness, but I cannot do so. And you have no pity. Until my dying day, I shall remember how you thrust me back into that bedroom, locked me up, so I cried out while suffocating in distress. And that punishment you made me suffer, because your wicked boy struck me, knocked me down for nothing. People think you are a good woman, but you are bad, hard-hearted. You are deceitful.
Jane, you are under a mistake. What is the matter with you? Why do you tremble so violently? Would you like a drink of water?
No, Mrs. Reed.
Is there anything you wish for? I assure you, I desire to be your friend.
Not you. You told Mr. Brogglers that I had a bad character and a deceitful disposition.
Jane, you don't understand these things. Children must be corrected in their faults.
Deceit is not my fault.
But you are passionate, Jane, and that you must allow. Now, return to the nursery, there's a dear, and lie down a little.
I am not your dear. I cannot lie down. Send me to school, Mrs. Reed, for I hate to live here.
I will then send you very soon.
Miss Jane, where are you? Come to lunch. Why, you naughty little thing? Why don't you come when you are called? Come, Bessie, don't scold. You are a strange child, Miss Jane. A little roving, solitary thing. And you are going to school, I suppose. And won't you be sorry to leave poor Bessie? What does Bessie care for me? She is always scolding. Because you're such a queer, frightened, shy little thing. You ought to be bolder. What? To get more knocks. Nonsense. But you are rather pretty, that's certain. My mother said, when she came to visit me last week, that she would not like a little one of her own to be in your place. Now, come in. I'll ask her to make you a little cake, and you shall choose what toys you'd like to take with you. Bessie, you must promise not to scold me any more till I go. Well, I will. But mind, you are a very good girl, and don't be afraid of me. It's so provoking. I don't think I shall ever be afraid of you again, Bessie, because I have gotten used to you. I shall soon have another set of people to dread. If you dread them, they will dislike you. As you do, Bessie? I don't dislike you, miss. You don't show it. Why, you sharp little thing! What makes you so venturesome and hardy? Well, I will be leaving you soon. And so you're glad to leave me? Not at all, Bessie. Indeed, just now I'm rather sorry to leave you. Just now. And rather. How coolly my little lady says it. I dare say now, if I were to ask you to give me a kiss, you wouldn't give it to me. You'd say you'd rather not. I'll kiss you and welcome.
That afternoon passed in peace and harmony, and in the evening, Bessie told
told me some of her most enchanting stories and sang me some of her sweetest songs. Even for me, life had its gleams of sunshine.
Will you go in and bid Mrs. goodbye?
No, she came to me last night and said I need not disturb her or my cousins either, and told me to remember she had always been my friend.
And what did you say, miss?
Nothing. I covered my face with bedcloths and turned from her to the wall.
Miss Jane, that was wrong.
It was quite right, Bessie. Your missus has never been my friend. She has always been my foe. Goodbye to Kingston.
Is she going alone?
Yes,
How far is it?
50 miles.
What's a long way? I wonder if Mrs. Reed trusts her so far alone.
Be sure and take good care of her.
All right. Aye, aye. Here you are.
As I stood warming my numbed fingers, I looked around. I was in a parlor, not so spacious or splendid as the drawing room at Gateshead, but comfortable enough.
The child is very young to be sent alone. She must be tired. Are you tired?
A little.
And hungry too, no doubt. Let her have some supper before she goes to bed, Miss Miller. I hope you'll be a good child.
Come, share out with me.
Arrived before dawn the next morning, all the students hastily dressed and gathered in the dark for morning Bible reading, grace, and hymn singing. By the time that exercise was fully terminated, day had finally dawned. We were marched into another room for breakfast. Silence!
Silence! Do you see?
I have a word to address to the pupils. You were served this morning a breakfast which you could not eat. You must be hungry. I have ordered bread and cheese shall be served to all. It is to be done on my responsibility.
After lunch, the order was given to the garden. I made my way into the open air. Is your book interesting?
I like it.
What is it about?
You may look.
I see nothing of fairies, nothing about genies, nothing interesting. What is the writing on the stone door mean? What is Lowood Institution?
Where you have come to live.
Why do they call it an institution? Is it in any way different from other schools?
It is partly a charity school, and you and I, and all the rest of us, are charity children. I assume you're an orphan? Are not your mother or father dead?
Both died before I can remember.
Well, all children here have lost either one or both of their parents. And this is an institution for educating orphans.
Do they keep us for nothing? Do we pay? Nothing?
We pay, our friends pay, £15 a year for each.
Then why do they call us charity children?
Because £15 is not enough for education, and the deficiency is supplied by subscription.
Who is Naomi Brocklehurst?
The lady who built the new part of the house, and the tablet records, and whose son directs everything here.
Why?
Because he's the manager and treasurer of this establishment.
Then this house does not belong to that tall lady who wears a watch and who said we were testing bread and cheese?
Miss Temple? Oh no, I wish it did. She has to answer to Mr. Brocklehurst for all she does.
Is he a good man?
Well, he is the
clergyman and is said to do a great deal of good.
Does he live here?
No, 2 miles off, in a large house.
Do you like the teachers?
Oh, enough.
Have you been here long?
2 years.
Are you an orphan?
My mother's dead.
What is your name?
Helen Burns. Do you like it here? You ask too many questions. I've answered enough for the present. Now, I want to read.
It's time for dinner, ladies. Burns, you have gotten dirt on this book. It does not belong to you. It is school property. You will have half portions at dinner. Now look at you. You're standing on the inside of your shoes. Turn your toes out immediately. And your chin. It pokes out most unpleasantly. Draw it in. No, no, I will not have you before me in that attitude. Now hold your head up. Off now, ladies, to dinner. I enjoyed my first month at Lowood. The teachers were kindly towards me, and the other girls were pleasant. My one fear was when Mr. Brocklehurst would arrive. He stayed away for the greater part of my first month, but come he did.
Welcome, Mr. Brocklehurst.
You may tell Miss Smith that I have forgotten her duty, but I shall also oblige her. And I wish you was not better attended. I saw someone I was here last year who was very bad at getting
Your directions will be attended to, sir.
I find selling a catch to the housekeeper at a lunch, eating bread and cheese, been served out to the girls in the past fortnight. How is this? Who introduced it to the baby? And on what authority?
I must be responsible for the circumstance, sir. The breakfast was so ill-prepared that the pupils could not possibly eat it, and I dared not allow them to remain fasting until dinner time.
Then, allow me this. You are aware that my plan, bringing up these children, is not because of the habits of luxury and indulgence, but to render them part of the state of self-denial. Should any little accidental disappointment of the appetite occur, it ought not to be neutralized. Miss Temple! Miss Temple! What is that girl with curly hair?
It is Anna Severn.
Anna Severn? And why has she curly hair?
Anna's hair grows naturally, sir.
Naturally. Yes, but we're not to coordinate her. Her hair must be cut off entirely. My mission is to teach these children to clothe themselves with humility and sobriety, not with costly apparel. I repeat. Ah, my dears.
Welcome, Miss Brocklehurst, Miss Brocklehurst.
Ah, careless girl. It is a new pupil I perceive. I must not forget. I have a word to say concerning her. Fetch that school. Place the child upon it. Ladies, Miss Temple, teachers and children, you all see this girl? You see she is yet young. You observe that she possesses the ordinary forms of childhood. Who would think that the evil one has already found a servant and an agent in her? Yet, such I used to say, is the case. This is a sad, melancholy occasion, because it becomes my duty to warn you that this girl is a liar. Let her stand on that stool half an hour longer. Let no one speak to her for the remainder of the day.
that will cure your distracted mind.
Ere the half hour ended,
School was dismissed, and all was done.
meant to be so good and to do so much, to make friends, to earn respect. I have been well received by my pupils, molested by any. Now, here I lay again, crushed and trodden on. Could I ever rise more? Never.
Jane, eat something.
Helen, why do you stay with a girl whom everyone believes to be a liar?
Everybody, Jane? There's only 80 people for whom you're called so, and the world contains hundreds of millions.
What have I to do with millions when the 80 I know despise me?
Jane, you're mistaken. Probably not one in the school dislikes or despises you. Many, I am sure, pity you.
How could they pity me after what Mr. Brocklehurst said?
Mr. Brocklehurst is not a god, nor is he a modern man. If he had treated you as an especial favorite, he would have found enemies here. As it is, a greater number would show you sympathy, if they dared. Teachers and pupils may look at you coldly for a day or two, but there are friendly feelings in their hearts. When you persevere in doing well, those feelings will appear. Besides, Jane,
Well, Helen,
if all the world hated you, made you wicked, while your own conscience approved of you and absolved you from guilt, you would not be without friend.
I know I should think well of myself, but if others don't love me, I'd rather die than live.
Hush, Jane. You think too much of the love of human beings. It's repulsive. Besides this world and race and man, there's an invisible one in the kingdom of spirits. It is all around us. God only waits from the separation from flesh from spirit to crown us with their full reward. Why then do we seem overwhelmed with suspicion?
I've come to find you.
Come, sit with me. And as Helen is with you, she may come too. Is it all over? Have you cried your grief away?
I'm afraid I shall never do that.
Why not?
Because you, ma'am, and everyone else will not think me wicked.
We shall think you, but you prove yourself to be, my child. Continue to act as a good girl, and you will satisfy me.
Shall I, Miss Temple?
You will. Now, when a criminal is accused, he is allowed to speak in defense. Defend yourself to me as well as you can. Say whatever is true, but add nothing and exaggerate nothing.
Exhausted by emotion, my language was more subdued than it generally was when telling the tale of my sad childhood. Thus restrained and simplified, it sounded more credible. In the course of the tale, I had mentioned Mr. Lloyd, the apothecary who came to see me after my fit.
Something of Mr. Lloyd. I shall write to him. If his reply agrees with your statement, you shall be publicly cleared from every imputation. To me, Jane, you are cleared now. How are you tonight, Helen? Have you coughed much today?
So much, I think, ma'am.
And the pain in your chest?
It is a little better.
Well, good night, and God bless you, my children.
About a week subsequently to the incidents above narrated, Miss Temple received Mr. Lloyd's answer. She, having settled the whole school, announced that inquiry had been made into the charges alleged against me, and that she was happy to pronounce me completely clear from every imputation. Thus relieved of a grievous load, I, from that hour, set to work afresh. I would not now have exchanged Lowood with all its privations for Gateshead and its daily luxuries. But the privations, or hardships, of Lowood began to lessen. Have I not described a pleasant state? Assuredly, pleasant enough, but whether healthy or not is the question.
What fun there's a railroad to live. As well, people must get our exercise. It tends to the doctor said.
But Marianne, they buried someone else last night. It is a sad thing.
It is sad that someone died. We could hardly expect otherwise. With the poor fruit in the bag clothes Mr. Brockhurst would give us. Which is another thing he never tells you anymore. And that mean old customer says, we get fresh books when we used to. And that take taxes.
I wonder what's become of Helen Burns. She's been kept out of the hospital room, so she doesn't die.
Mr. Bates, the doctor's here, so it must be very ill. Farewell, Jane. I'm going to go ask
How sad it must be to be lying in bed, be in danger of dying. The world is pleasant. It would be dreary to be called from it and have to go who knows where. What's become of Helen Burns? Or was Helen?
There's Boy.
Is it her Mr. Bates has come to see?
Yes.
And what does he say?
He says she'll not be here long.
In what room does she lie?
She's in the temple room.
May I go up and speak to her?
Oh, no, child. It is not likely. And now you must come with me. The act of fever yourself, which is falling.
Helen, are you awake?
Jane, that be you? Why have you come? It's past 11 o'clock. Heard it strikes a minute 10.
I heard you were very ill, and I could not rest until I had spoken to you.
You come to bid me goodbye? You're just in time then, probably.
Are you going somewhere, Helen? Are you going home?
To my long home, my last one.
No, Helen.
Jean, your feet are bare. Come and cover yourself with my quilt. Jane, when you hear that I'm dead, be sure and not to grieve. There's nothing to grieve about. I leave no one to regret me much. Only a father, and he is lately married. He won't miss me. I die young, I will escape greater suffering.
But where will you go, Helen? Can you see? Do you know?
I believe, I have faith, I'm going to go.
Who is God? What is God?
My maker and yours will never destroy what he created. I rely implicitly on his power and try to follow in his goodness. I count the hours till the event will arrive, restore me to him.
Then you do believe that there is such a place as heaven, and that our souls can get to it when we die?
I am sure there is a future state. I believe God is good. I can resign my immortal part to him without any misgiving. God is my father. God is my friend. I love him. I believe he loves me.
And will I see you again, Helen, when I die?
No doubt, dear Jane. We'll come to the same region of happiness. We rule by the same mighty universal parent. My, that bit of coffee has tired me a little. I feel as if I can sleep. Don't leave me, Jane. I like to have you near me.
No one shall say to me, Helen.
Are you warm? Yes. Good night, Jane.
When I awoke, it was day, and a nurse had removed me to my own cot. I was not reprimanded for leaving my bed, but a day or two afterwards, I learned that Miss Temple, on returning to her room at dawn, had found me laid in a little crib, my face against Helen Burns' shoulder, my arms around her neck. I was asleep, and Helen was dead. Her grave is in Brocklebridge churchyard. For 15 years, it was covered only by a grassy mound, but now a gray marble tablet marks the spot, inscribed with her name and the word, Resurgam, I shall rise again.